What's up, everyone? It's your boy Shaf, aka That Mill Guy, coming at you again live from Twitch. If you want to see some of these videos kind of live and get the information beforehand, or see me rant beforehand, or just play some games and hang out, twitch.tv/That Mill Guy. Today, I'm going to be going over a quick PSA. All right, not, I guess, as informative and as fun as the video we just did kind of earlier in the week with kind of playing more removal. This one is going to be about how we as a mill community right now, as of the filming of this video, when this video gets posted, we need to stop playing a certain card. Now, as you've read through the title and the thumbnail, maybe you've already guessed it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Maybe. But we'll see. Maybe I'll make it super clickbaity and you won't know what the card is until now. We need to stop playing Teaming Symmetry. Stop playing this card. 110% stop playing this card. This is not a good card, especially in current modern. You are playing Scheming Symmetry to archive trap someone. What the archive trap does is forces you into a play pattern that costs you 2 cards to just mill them for 13. Doesn't even win you the game. It's at sorcery speed. All right. And provides them with an option to interact, potentially if you do it later, if not turn 1. It allows them a chance to interact and put cards that they do not want to draw or deal with on top of their deck. Especially cards like Emrakul in post-board games, like games 2 and 3, they're just gonna they're just gonna put the shuffle effect on top. But then you say, Shaf, okay, I'm a smart person. What if I take interaction, like right here? I have Surgical Extraction with me. I have one of your more favorite cards, Soul Guide Lantern, with me on the battlefield. Okay, so now this combination costs you 3 cards to mill 13. All right, Shaf, I'm trying to bait out the shuffle effect. Okay, you've 3 cards to shuffle out to bait out the shuffle effect. Okay, that's pretty good. That's at least a turn 2 play. You're not doing that on turn 1. You can't bait that out. Okay, because you've cast 3 cards. You've used up an archive trap to then, in that case, if you want to do it on turn 1, use a Surgical Extraction to just get 1 card. Just fine. It's a shuffle effect, but essentially you put yourself down 3 cards. You put yourself down 3 cards just to deal with an Emrakul when you could have played your regular game plan, played a Soul Guide Lantern, played out your regular game plan, and just gotten rid of it from there. Okay? So we're starting to understand where this disadvantage comes from. Now, on top of that, we have to start thinking about how the rest of the modern metagame interacts with us, right? Now, in a world of Izzet Tempo, in a world of Dragon Rage Channeler and Murktide Regent, there are certain places where people don't care about what goes in their graveyard. They will actually just put the artifact on top of their yard to turn on Delirium for the Dragon Rage channel that's on the board, and you have not removed because you've decided to play Scheming Symmetry on turn 1 to mill them for 13 or 26. Huzzah, you milled them for 3 archive traps. How many times reliably, mathematically, I'm going to leave this up to you folks, are you going to get Scheming Symmetry off the top? Not that many times, okay? It's not that great. Okay, so don't be stuck on Scheming Symmetry. Again, something like Velomach's control, Velomach's turns, against something like control that has a bit more interaction. What is that going to do for you? Especially against mid-range decks like Orzhov Stoneblade that have Thoughtseize. What is that going to do for you? They're gonna Thoughtseize you. They're gonna leave the Scheming Symmetry, the interaction on top. Right? Like they're just going to leave it in your hand. If I was a mid-range player with Thoughtseize, I would leave Scheming Symmetry and Archive Trap in your hand, because that whole combo costs you a land, Scheming Symmetry, and an Archive Trap, 3 cards. I will then Thoughtseize the 4th card out of your hand, which then leaves you with 3 cards that I have deemed I can answer or I don't care about. How does that make you feel? Because I don't care about that Archive Trap. It's 13 cards. Don't do things that don't win you the game for very minimal value. It's not worth it. It's not a combo, folks. Sorry. Like a combo to me is something that provides you value and or sets you significantly in a direction to help you win the game. This does not. Scheming Symmetry and Archive Trap do not help you do that. What about against Burn? You spent 3 cards to mill them 13 for them to just hit you in the face for 6, 9, however much damage the turn after. I'm kind of just laboring this point, but again, this is more of a shorter PSA style video. We as mill players need to stop playing Scheming Symmetry as of the recording of this video, because there is not enough synergy or not enough kind of combo potential with a card like this, especially giving your opponent some advantage, A lot of times they don't even care what goes on top, as I've said, and just not gaining enough advantage with the amount of cards spent. It's not like 5-color elementals where they will cast something like Grief for nothing, for free by exiling a black card from their hand. But in that case, they could have the nuts and play something like Ephemerate to get a 3/4. That's insane value. That's probably game winning. But in other words, they've just taken out the most important card of your hand. They have an elemental in their yard. They are probably playing Thunderkin Awakener, and they don't care about what goes in their yard at the end of the day. They're just going to get it back with what's in their hand. And again, that's another reason why we should not be playing Scheming Symmetry. This is really going to be my final point that I'm going to drive home here. Outside of everything I've said, Scheming Symmetry deals with nothing on board, and it deals with nothing on hand. Okay? And those are the kind of avenues that Mill has struggled with in a large sense, right? Bringing back to the type of removal that we have to play, Drown in the Lock was a big step forward for us, allowing us to have Counterspell in our deck, as well as some type of top-end removal that tries to act like a Doomblade variant. But especially with something like Hand Disruption, that's been something very weak. So notoriously, what Mill has tried to do is play spells and answers that are more efficient than the threats our opponents are trying to play from hand. Notably so for the past couple of years, stuff like Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize have been weaker for Mill as the format has kind of power crept, and we've gained more answers out of the Dimir color pie. In which case, again, Scheming Symmetry, as I've been saying over and over again, does not help in any way, shape, or form with the turn 1 Dragon Rage Channeler, the turn 1 Darcy, does not help with the interaction that they have in hand. All it does is, at a base level, most commonly helps you mill 13 cards for 3 cards. A land, a Scheming Symmetry, and an Archive Trap. Even if you're going more to 26, what are you going to do with your 26? You can't even cast Visions on turn 1. Are you going to do that on turn 2? Well, okay, then you wasted a whole turn doing almost nothing. Because then you're talking about Magic Christmas Land scenarios where you say, okay, well, Shaft, I got a Soul Guide Lantern. I'm going to play that on turn 1. And then on turn 2, I'm going to play another land. And I'm going to play this. And then I'll do this. And then, I mean, hey, what if I Soul Guide Lantern, you know, I can draw a card. What if I then put an Archive Trap on top of my library with the Vamp Tutor? I draw with the Soul Guide Lantern because my opponent, you know, they will not put the card that they want to put in their graveyard on top of their deck. And then I draw the Archive, like, oh, I've spent 6 mana to mill 26 cards. Come on, folks. Like, I am not running this channel, this Twitch stream. I'm not making a mill podcast. I'm not making a sideboard guide just for people to tell me that it is worth it to spend 6 cards to mill 26 cards. Stop it. It is not worth 3 cards to mill 13 cards. Stop it. Don't play this card. Get it out of here. All right. Don't miss me with Scheming Symmetry. All right. I never want to see this in my face again. Unless we get a reprint to Archive Trap, then the discussion becomes a little bit different, and we start seeing some potential. But right now, August 2021, the modern metagame here, do not play Scheming Symmetry. I'm tired of this, okay? So what? You did good with Scheming Symmetry. I want to finally kind of nail this with kind of some pieces that I've learned from other games here. So, as an Overwatch player, casual Overwatch, I should say, a big lesson in that game is that there's a kind of a medal system in the kind of on-game screen on the HUD. When you kind of tab and you look at how you're doing with your own, like how much damage you've done and overall how much life you've healed and all that stuff, there's medals. So if you have the most on your team, you have gold. Like if you have the most healing on your team, you have gold healing. Like, oh my God, look at me, I'm doing so much. That's crazy. The thing with Overwatch at a higher level that a lot of people don't understand at a lower level, and it's sad, is that just because you have gold in something like gold damage, gold healing, gold objective time, whatever it is, doesn't mean you actually deserve that, and it does not mean you're actually playing your hero well. Especially when you have something like gold healing, there's a lot of supports in Overwatch. For those of you who may not understand the game, supports are generally characters that not only provide healing, but provide a lot of helpful utility, a lot of anti-healing towards the team, a lot of stun, whatever it may be, to deal with that type of first-person shooter environment. So just because you have gold healing doesn't mean you're actually being helpful to the team. You might actually be stealing that healing that the other support needs to, again, gain their ultimate charge, while you could be using your abilities to then not heal, but instead help the rest of your team. So driving that back, the point I'm trying to make is just because you're winning games with Scheming Symmetry doesn't mean you should be playing Scheming Symmetry. Just because you're doing something that's winning you games doesn't mean that's actually the correct way to play. And that's a very difficult thing to parse out for a lot of people. That's a very difficult thing to understand for a lot of people. And obviously that argument can be used for me. But I would argue that against, the average mill player, I feel like I have a lot, I think I can confidently say that I have a lot more game experience than the average mill player. So I have my personal experience. I have my games on stream. I have the things people know that I do. And then you have your 1 or 2 games that you won with Scheming Symmetry. I think the stats are in my favor. Stop playing Scheming Symmetry.